the only pressure I felt was that that a kid somewhere in Singapore who's like a boy who's 15 or a girl who's 15 or 16 who sees this film and is gay and is uncomfortable with the idea of the way they'll be perceived. It's like the idea of a film of this size to be able to see a really strong, powerful, self-confident gay character, that was something that was always in the back of my head. Just because I feel like if there's even like one person who watches this and sort of goes like, wow, that's really cool. I've never seen a character played like that before with that sexual preference, which is not, which is like the 20th most important thing about him, but people obviously talk about it a lot. Then that was really the only thing we focused on. The fans are very attached to Alec in general, I think because of his sexuality and because, especially a film of this size, to have a character who's gay is something that people really care about being done properly, which are not things I'm unaware of. But I feel like sometimes if you listen to everybody, because everybody has an opinion about everything, I didn't want to end up with some sort of watered down version of a little bit of everything. And I think Alec is such a specific character, and when I read him, the way that Harold and I spoke about him was, we were on the same page, and so I sort of said, you know what, that's what we're going to do. I felt strongly about it, and I felt like, we wanted to create what was and what is a really strong, badass, dignified guy, irregardless of all the sort of backstory that people know about him. I felt like any of this sort of cliche, preconceived notion about what a gay character would be like, I just sort of threw all that out the window. And because I think it's such a, especially for my generation and even the younger generation, it's such a non-issue. It's such a, it's such a bullshit thing for. It's not something that my nieces who are 12 even really, it's not something that matters to them, what a stereotype is.
Have you had any intense fan encounters so far?
I don't know about intense. I found the most interesting thing has been the fans from different places. There's been, people have come up to me from Saudi Arabia or from Singapore.
I'm from Singapore.
Oh, well, so there you go. But, it's, to me, that's been more interesting. It's, to me, the sort of scale of the people who have read the books and the people who are aware of this film and from everywhere. Sometimes you do a film and it's very centered in the United States and people in the States are aware of it, but in terms of the rest of the world, but I think these books were so popular around the world that, the fans that have come up to me from the strangest places that, I wouldn't have ever assumed that this movie would A, be coming out there, and B, that they would be so excited to know who I am, to know that I'm in the movie. This is the first thing I've done in a really long time where I truly, whether we were making another movie or not, would have stayed very close with, especially Jamie and Lily, because I don't know, we were all sort of in the same place when we started filming, and I have just a huge affinity towards Jamie. I sort of love him as a guy. I think he's the sweetest kid in the world. And I'm not that I'm that much older than him, but I'm 5 years older than him, so I sort of have this instinct to want to sort of put my arms around them, and they let me. So throughout this whole process, Jamie and Lily worked a lot, and a lot of hours, and a lot of emotional and physical, and it was great for us to be able to sort of hang on to each other and make it fun, and that's why I'm looking forward to going back and doing the sequel, just because it's we get to go hang out for a few months again, and it's nice to go back to a situation where the filming will be fun, and we'll make another great film, and I have no doubt. But I get to hang out with all these people again, which is great.
What's the energy like in a cast of predominantly young actors?
It's interesting. I think there's a huge thing, something that happens from the time you're like 22 or 23 to your late 20s or your early 30s. There's like a diametric shift of really growing into yourself. And this is the first thing I've done where I was sort of like the oldest one. Normally, since I was a kid, I've always been like the baby on the set. But you know, it was just a lot of fun. We laughed a lot, and everyone's, you know, it's tumultuous in like a fun way. Everyone's, you know, living their life, and families come and visit. So it's, you know, it's like you're sort of forced to be very close, because when you're young, you're very open. You know, none of us, me excluded now, but you know, it's not like sometimes people come to set and they have their families and they bring their wife and their kids and they go to set and they go home and that's like their life. They just work. And we were all very, you know, free. So we would go to work and hang out, and we were in Toronto, and so when we weren't working, we were sort of close enough that we would rely on each other for other personal stuff. And you know, it takes 4 months is a long time to be away from your family and away from your life. So you end up sort of dealing with stuff together because they're the people who are around.